Well, Chapel family, Lord willing, we'll be regathering beginning on July 5th. And I want to begin just reminding us that COVID-19 is still impacting lives today as it was in March. We know that it's more airborne, this virus, thus we've got to be careful with face-to-face conversations. And that's why masks are still important, and so is washing our hands. None of us want this virus, so we need to be diligent and careful. So as life is opening up, we want to be careful to take those steps as we do that as a church. And that's good news for those who can regather or who are ready to regather. But we're not all going to be able to regather, and that's okay. We all need to be comfortable with the steps we personally want to take. Please do not feel compelled to regather yet. As both worship services are live streamed, some of us need to be more careful about this regathering than others. The doctors, they're reminding us that we need to wear masks inside and outside when there's no social distancing. And we do it for the sake not of ourselves, but for the sake of others. And this isn't about fear. This is about our love for others. So let's talk about distancing. In general, within the building, we're going to be encouraged to keep our distance from those in front of us. We're also going to be encouraged to not have conversations inside the building. But please feel free to have those conversations outside as you're comfortable with that. We also want you to come in and get through the foyer and to your seat as quickly as possible. Inside, should we greet each other? Sure we should, but it needs to be from a distance. Shouldn't be shaking hands, no hugs inside. When you're outside those doors, your behavior is on you. For sure, be wise. I want us to remember that what we're doing and why we're doing it is because we are at different comfort levels. And we need to be mindful of that within our church building. This isn't about you and me. It's about all of us. So let's think about distancing within the worship center, the chairs. As you can see, the arrangement is not normal. There are only a couple of single chairs. So if you come by yourself, find a pair of chairs and sit in two chairs. You'll be taking up two, but that's fine. Also, we need to sit only with those we've registered with. That's important. Then the worship center, our 9 o'clock service, we have about a capacity of 125. 10:35 service, the capacity is around 150. The multi-purpose room has a capacity around 70. And room 153, it's about 40. And people will be sitting in every other row in one service. And then in the second service, they'll sit in the alternate row. And that will produce a distance of 6 feet. Each outside chair in each grouping of chairs is clearly marked for the two services. One row for the 9 o'clock service, the other for the 10:35 service. The gap between groupings is approximately 5.5 feet, and the chairs will not need to be cleaned, right? Because they're only going to be used once during that week. Let's think about registration. That's an important piece. To come to the service, we will all need to register. Registration begins Mondays at 9 a.m. It's going to close at midnight Thursday of each week. So get to the chapel website, hit that Sunday, reserve your seat bar, and that will get you to the right place to fill out the registration form. Only one person needs to fill it out per family, but then mark how many will be coming with you. And then please sit only as a family in worship. You can choose to be seated in the worship center or in the MPR if you so desire. When one registers for the worship center, and when that reaches capacity, the form will say sold out. And that will force you to sign into the MPR. And if that fills up, it will say sold out, and that will force you to register for room 153. The worship services will be projected, of course, in the MPR and room 153. And you can certainly sign up to sit in the MPR if that is your choice for either service. Parents, with your younger children, you may feel more freedom in the MPR, but for sure, families are welcome to worship in either the worship center or the MPR. After registering, you'll receive a confirmation email on Friday with detailed reminders. Now, a key question is, who should come to live worship? Well, if in question, please stay home. We want to, the worship service will continue to be online. If you have any sign of sickness, fever, cough, sneezing, runny nose, body aches, it's best to stay home. If you have a fever or have had a fever or been exposed to a known COVID case in the last 14 days, please don't attend in person. Now, that doesn't include our frontline workers who are using full PPE. If you are at high risk, please stay home for your sake. The CDC defines high-risk population for COVID-19. We probably know this pretty well. Individuals over 65. Individuals with serious underlying health conditions, including high blood pressure, lung disease, heart disease, diabetes, and so on. The CDC also includes those who have compromised immune system by disease or therapy, like chemotherapy for cancer, kidney dialysis. And then lastly, the CDC includes those who are themselves not at risk, but who live with individuals who are vulnerable. Lastly, on this, please bring your own hand sanitizer so you can use it right before entering the building. Let's think about the foyer. What should we anticipate when we enter the building? As to masks, for the 9 o'clock service, masks are required while in the building. For the 10:35 service, masks are highly recommended while in the building. All staff and volunteers are required to wear masks while in the building, with a few exceptions like those on the platform. Now, why are we doing the services differently this way? It's to honor both extremes. When we took our church survey, there was a clear divide between those who saw masks as important and those who did not. So we're seeking to be accommodating. And this isn't about theology. And this isn't about, I have no fear because I have more faith, because I'm trusting God to keep me safe. And that's not what this is about at all. We want to minister to all, right? Masks or no masks. Masks will be bagged and available at a kiosk by each entrance into the building and at the worship center. Again, we want you moving through the building, through the foyer, and as you do, please keep to the right so we have that help in distancing. On Communion Sunday, there'll be another kiosk by each entrance into the building and at the Welcome Center, and it will have a bagged, single, sealed, enclosed cup with a wafer on top. There will also be gluten-free wafers individually packaged for you if needed. If you want to take communion, you pick up one for you and those with you, and then hold it until we come to share the Lord's Supper at the end of the service. After partaking of the elements, then you'll bag that unit and drop it into a waste container on your way out. There will be one greeter at door 1 and door 7 for the worship center, and one greeter at door 2 if you're using the MPR. These greeters will have a list of names of those of us who have registered and the total number in your family unit. After they check your name, you may proceed to the place of worship that you registered for. Now, if we have guests that come, they will be led to the worship center, or rather the welcome center. Guests will receive a complimentary pen, as they will need to fill out a form so that we can have a record of all those who have entered the building. Now, if you're not a guest, but you didn't make a reservation, or maybe you forgot, you can come, and when you get to that door, they'll ask you to go to the Welcome Center, and you'll give them your name, your email address, cell number, and then we'll ask you to return to your car. When the service begins, if there are chairs available, then we will text you, and you can come into the building and enter into the worship center or the overflow rooms. Again, families, please stay together as a family unit while in the foyer and in the worship rooms. Restrooms in the MPR area and the worship center foyers will be open. But water fountains will not be functioning and no coffee will be served, so please feel free to bring your own. As to services, both services will continue online and will be a little different, as we'll see in a moment. Again, attendance is by seat registration. Your names will be listed alphabetically. It'll be used at each door by the attendant there and at the Welcome Center. The reservation form will fill up, as I've said already, the worship center first, and when it hits capacity, it will be closed, and then you'll make your reservation for the MPR, followed by room 153. Families. In the worship center, we encourage all families with little children to attend the service there. Now, if you've got younger children and might be better for them to get up and move around a little bit, the multi-purpose room might be a little bit more comfortable for you, and that service will be projected. The 9 o'clock service, again, masks are required. And this is going to be a shortened service, 55 to 60 minutes in length. We'll sing 1 or 2 songs. The rest of the service will be the same as our, quote, normal service. Why is it shorter? You know, when wearing masks, shorter is always better. And this allows also for our sanitizing team to be at work between services. The 10:35 service, masks are strongly recommended, but it will be our normal service with our normal time of worship in song. Now, between the two services, this is the same. Again, families, please stay together as a family unit while in the worship rooms. Due to the seating arrangements, to maximize our capacity, our ushers will help you with seating, trying to match the number in your group to the number of seats that are available as best we can. Also, our ushers will dismiss us from the back to the front so that there's no congestion as we exit the worship center or the MPR. That's very important. Please exit the worship area and the foyer as quickly as you can as a family unit, especially when after the 9 o'clock service, as we need to sanitize the foyer and the restrooms. Concerning offerings, we encourage you to continue to give online or mail your offerings to the chapel. We sure appreciate you doing this faithfully in these months. But there will be wooden boxes locked by each exit door out of the worship areas. And this will be available for you if you'd like to just drop your offering into that box. Of course, on Communion Sundays, we've always taken an extra offering for benevolent needs, but we're not going to do that. So if you want to give a benevolent offering, put it in an extra envelope or mark your regular envelope and put the amount of that is for benevolent. And that will help us make that happen. As to sanitizing, the building will have been sanitized before our morning of worship. And then between services, our sanitizing team will go to work. Restrooms will be closed for about 10 minutes while they are being cleaned. All the push bars and handles and flat surfaces will be sprayed and wiped. Chairs will not be required since every other row is being used only once. As to children's ministries, there will be no children's ministries for sure in July, and this will be developing and unfolding over time. We'll keep you posted. Then lastly, our adult Bible fellowships, and this is a change. The 45 teaching lesson is going to be continued on Zoom both hours. You've had some great interaction with those teaching, and we want to make this available. So again, it's going to be live teaching at 9 and at 10:35. Well, thanks for listening to this rather lengthy explanation of our regathering. If you've got questions, please call the church office, email a pastor. And to see you on Sunday, be sure to register on Monday beginning at 9 a.m. And again, that closes midnight on Thursday. Please, let's keep praying for this process, and let's keep praying for each other.